We're going to move to the economy and jobs, and this first question is: many consider they have cited growing inequality a problem in our country, and particularly in Western North Carolina. Is income inequality a problem, and what role, if any, should the U.S. Congress play in alleviating it? And we'll change it up, and I'll let you address that first, Tom.
Okay. Would you repeat the specific question?
Sure. Is income inequality a problem, and what role, if any, should the U.S. Congress play in alleviating that problem?
Income inequality is a problem throughout our nation. And what is happening is that during the recovery that's going on now, that started some time ago, virtually all of the gains in monetary gains have gone to the upper 1%. The middle class is disappearing. Poor people are getting poorer. $7.25 an hour minimum wage is starvation. It has to be changed. We can change it. And if we raise the minimum wage and we put taxes on the corporation, make them pay their taxes, we'll use that money to create jobs. When we create jobs, rebuilding the infrastructure, these companies that have had their pick of poor employees because they can't get a job anywhere else will then come to work. These corporations will then be forced to pay them a decent wage. I am for the raising of the minimum wage. I want that very clear. I have no tolerance for people to say, oh, well, if you raise the minimum wage, you'll this and that and the other. Well, this will bad happen. Let's raise it and see. People this day and time, incidentally, $7 for a minimum wage, $7.25, is about $14,000 a year. If you've got husband and wife both working for that, they can't make it. It's that simple. It's time to, and when you talk about income equality, today we have people who are rolling in cash. They have so much money, they buy 14th century broken beer bottles for $1 million. They buy corporate jets, everything you can imagine, and the poor people can't afford housing and food. And I'm sick of it.
What do you say to those questions? There are a lot of businesses today that are voluntarily raising wages to try and help those employees that they feel are faced with inequality. What's your answer to this question?
Well, I've lived the American dream. I grew up very poor, and quite frankly, have done without, and I've had plenty. And one of the great things about this country is that we're not trapped in where we are. What the government has done many times because of a number of the programs they have, and this is one of the things I think we need to fix in a bipartisan way. I think Democrats, Republicans need to come. We've trapped much of our poor in a cycle of what I call comfortable poverty. What we do is that we have them on different government programs where what we've done is, and we talk about raising the minimum wage, and if we look at that, I'll take 4 people out there. And really what we have to look at is if we've got 4 people, if you're going to raise it to $10.10 an hour, I've got to make a choice. Which person do I fire so I can give the other 3 people a raise? But here's the other issue. Here's the other issue. Here is the other issue.
Please, audience, please, let's show some respect for the candidates, please.
Here is the other issue. And this is something that doesn't get talked about. The single mom, if she is making minimum wage, actually makes $15,080 a year if she works 40 hours. And when she gets an increase, and let's say she got a $3 an hour increase, what happens is the benefits that she has currently get taken away from her at 90 cents on the dollar. So she doesn't even realize the $3 an hour raise or thereabouts, because much of that is taken away with benefits that she loses. I didn't know that till I went to Congress. We had a hearing, and all of a sudden we started hearing. I said, well, no wonder there's this disincentive. We've got to fix that. That is something that I think we can fix and help people get out of that trap that they're in.
All right. Tom, you have 1 minute for rebuttal.
As long as Mark is saying raise the minimum wage, we're in agreement. We're not in agreement on the impact that will have. The extra money will put more money in the hands of people who spend every dime they have on goods and services, and it will spur the economy. It is the right thing to do, and we can do that. Mark says he lived the American dream. I lived the American dream too. We just wound up at different places, all right? I grew up we were dirt poor. I grew up in the end of the Depression in East Flat Rock, and my dad had an apple orchard, and it's all we could do to survive. Dad and mother drank hot water for breakfast because we couldn't afford coffee and tea, if you can imagine that. And so I went off to school, had gotten advanced education. It has given me a good standard of living for most of my life. It's just in my old age I have not been as fortunate as Mark has, in that he has made so much more money in speculative enterprises.
Mark, you have 1 minute as a rebuttal here.
Yeah, really, it's about trying to work in a bipartisan way and care about the people that we serve. And I can tell you that each and every day, when you go through the 750,000 people that I have the privilege of serving, what you hear are different stories, and the great stories that are encouraging to me are the ones that we can help, are the ones that the veterans who we reached out to make sure they get the benefits, those who are looking at disability benefits. When you start to work on those kind of things, but here's the problem. Each and every time that we start to have dialogue, it's about redistributing the wealth. You know, there's a disincentive when we start to do that. When you start to take money from people and say, you've earned it, but let's give it to somebody else. I don't agree with it.
All right. Next question.